Hello, hello, and welcome to the newest episode of Borderline Podcast Disorder. I hope you had a good week, folks. I know it's not been that long since you heard from me with the episode I released on Friday, and I think for the time being, I will start releasing episodes more often. Just because of the guests that I've had the privilege to speak with, and to kind of, I guess, get a bit more like up to date with the episodes, because it's I have a bit of a, I guess, backlog, if you may say, of a couple of months. So yeah, I just want to release a few more episodes and keep you all as interested as possible. I don't know, but I also feel like it's helping me out a lot in these difficult times. Um, it gives me a bit of hope, just hope, no hopeful, yeah, just hope. It just gives me some hope, and it also makes me feel like I'm still doing something for the good. I'm doing something um, nice, and I really enjoy it. I although I'm still struggling with my sleep, I've noticed in the last few days that my because of all the stress that I have with my other issues, um, my stomach has been a nightmare to live with, and so I had some then my IBS is kind of acting up because of all this. So when this is happening, plus not sleeping well, the good news are that since I've recorded with Hani on Thursday last week, I've managed to meditate um, about I'd say 10 minutes a day. I've managed to, as soon as I wake up, I set up a timer and I do a 5-minute meditation, and then another um, 5 to 10 minutes silence meditation, and it's worked. I think the only time when it was difficult and I had to go from 10 to 5 minutes was actually this morning, just because I was thinking about a lot. It was really hard to focus on the moment and to clear up my mind. But I guess the admin, for Monday morning can give you that. Um, and look, I'll try better. I will do better. I'm still going to try. Tomorrow is going to be 5 minutes, and then I'll try again another 10 minutes of silent. 5 minutes of like my standard, or like of sound, or like speaking meditation, and then 10 minutes of silent meditation, and we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on Friday. When I'll release the next episode, but. For this week's guest was Lukasz. He's got a big following on social media, and that's how I kind of got into him, into his work, and we ended up speaking. And now I ended up having him in the podcast is because he was in the because his page intrusive thoughts, or like intrusive OCD. You'll see the handle precisely in the intrusive OCD memes, and you'll see his handle in the summary, just below. But yeah, we connected through me finding a meme on his page, which I really liked. I posting it, and then him, being like, "Hey, thanks for sharing." And I was like, "Oh wow, this is that's a nice gesture." And then that's where we started talking, and yeah, we decided to film this, and He lives in Poland, so obviously again it's not that much of a time difference given the fact that I've recorded with people from and will release some episodes with many other people based in America or yeah, the biggest time difference is going to be with people based in America. I think we have New York, which is going to be in a couple of weeks, and then it's someone from Chicago that I'm recording with in a few weeks, and I don't know yet when that's going to come out. But all I'm saying is it's still somehow a bit of hard work. I think recording remote it's more difficult for sure than it is to record in person. I found, and as in people told me before, but I have now experienced it. But I know it's hard to perhaps make a connection or be able to um, yeah to get like comfortable with the person that you're speaking with. But Lucas was brilliant. Like we got on super well, and look, I hope you enjoyed the interview, and hey, I'll catch you before we say goodbye. Okay, so do you prefer Lukasz or Lukas?
It, for me, it's no problem. Lukas is okay.
Okay, so how are you, Lukas?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thank you. And you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for doing this. I know it's a big, yeah, it's a big ask, as well as like we were recording in different from different countries and in slightly different time zones as well.
Yeah, 1 hour is not a problem. And thank you for invitation. It's amazing that we can speak together right now about such an important thing.
Well, this is it. I came across your page by literally just like scrolling through like other videos, and look, man, especially because I'm and I will share the video that I'm talking about. I'm referring to, but when you had the curb your enthusiasm sound like to it, um, yeah, it just made me feel like it made me laugh so hard. And there was even one today about the when you get like those OCD impulses, the one with the kitties.
Yeah.
Beautiful video, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do my best.
So I guess we'll basically like get into it straight away. How did you like? What made you get like start? Because you run, just for context to anyone listening. You're the person behind intrusive OCD memes.
Memes, exactly.
How did you like? How did that started?
Yeah, this started after my OCD diagnosis last year because now I know that I'm suffering from OCD almost 20 years. But 20 years ago, I didn't even know that I have OCD. It's small symptoms when, for example, I stepped on the line. I have a big problem when I step on the line the left leg, then I have to step on the right leg. So, but as a kid, it's not a big problem. It's not what it was wasn't a big problem for me. But after about 18 years, when COVID started, COVID pandemic started, my OCD exploded in my head. Yeah, 3 years ago, I started do my workout in home. I made my home gym, and I think OCD really liked it, and I started to count. I started counting weights when I do my workout, I was counted weights for about 1.5 hours. So I spent 3 hours on one workout, 3 days a week. Yeah, my wife was pretty angry, but she didn't. But she didn't even know what happened. And after 3 years, my OCD hit into my relationship. I had intrusive thoughts that my wife could cheat on me, and I asked her questions: what he's doing, why type of dress he's wearing, and that was really frustrating for me and for her. And after about half year, I was so frustrated, and OCD is so hard for me that I decided to tell my wife that something bad happened, and I started my therapy last year in October. And this is the start when my page with memes started, because we had deal with my wife not to speak about my thoughts, because my intrusive thoughts are really painful for her. And that's why I started with memes, because this is a really good way to tell what I have inside me.
But you were saying this thing about how you've noticed struggling, or I don't know what's the right word. Basically, you've noticed the signs of OCD 20 years ago, but yet until last year you didn't speak with your did anyone else knew about those thoughts, or did you just keep it to yourself?
No one. I was suffering alone. I was ashamed. I thought I can manage it on my own, but I was wrong. And after a really hard OCD week, I decided to tell my wife, because OCD, ROCD, relationship OCD, started ruining my marriage.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, and I was waiting 3 years, and it was 20 years to go to therapy. That's definitely too long. And when I started my page with memes, this month with this page was only for me, because I feel better when I do this. But now I know it helps. These memes help many people suffering with OCD and other disorders.
Yeah, this is the brilliant thing, because I as someone with a personality disorder, I feel like obviously there is a spectrum. So some things,
yep,
I guess we share some of these traits. So that's why it's like you said, it's so relatable. And I think I've in my situation. Oh, say hello to sorry, that's Sarma was trying to say hello.
Yeah, hello.
But so basically I was I didn't think that anyone else would get me. I had this problem in the past, when before I started talking about my problems, and before I started seeing a psychiatrist, where I just thought that I'm the only person who's got these thoughts. Like, I'm the only person who feels in a certain way, and then to learn that is actually so many other people that are doing it. It was just mind blowing, and I imagine, especially because also just for context for everyone listening, you live in Poland?
Yeah, I live in Poland.
Which city?
Poznań.
Poznan. Oh, so it's like
Poznań.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Poznań is in the center of Poland, I think.
Is it the one where I think is it the Lewandowski, the striker? Did he play for that club?
Yeah.
That's where. Yeah, I remember it from FIFA. So, and are you from Poznan originally, or did you move to Poznan?
Originally, I live here for my whole life.
Okay, and then what was it like when you've? Because I'm also very curious because you're the first person from, I guess, like the closest to Romania, or even like anywhere nearby that I basically talk about this. And I'm just curious, what was it like for you to, I guess, reach out to see a therapist, to basically I get a consultant, to even when you spoke with when you shared with your wife everything that was going on with you, what was that like?
Yeah, and now I have to ask you because I didn't understand everything, and you can you repeat one more time?
Yeah, of course. So the question was, what was it like to basically reach out to people, including your wife, and then professionals to ask for this?
Yeah, understand. First, when I told my wife, she totally didn't understand what OCD really is. She thought that it can be dangerous, or I could do something bad for her and for my children. And when after my diagnosis, I decided to tell my friends about it, and I was shocked because maybe not shocked. OCD is the thing people don't know. Absolutely don't know what it is. I had to tell them what it really is, what are intrusive thoughts, and that's why I started also my meme page, because I think people without OCD can better understand this disorder.
Yeah, that again, it's true, and also I always thought about. I thought just now about something before I got diagnosed. No, sorry. The first thought when I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, I was so scared because the only people that I knew who had borderline personality disorder were loads of serial killers in TV shows.
Yeah.
And to me, it was just so scary, and to the point where I would tell my partner that I was scared that, oh, what if, say, something escalates or like something happens to me. That I think for a while I was scared of becoming a serial killer, just because that was my only, I guess, understanding of it. Before that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the same, because I thought when I told about this to my wife, she could tell me, yeah, we had to be divorced or something. and I was really scared. But OCD started to ruin my life, destroyed my family, and that was the most important step. Going to therapy, telling my wife that I've ever made, I think.
And then what's it like? What's the treatment for it? So like, what do you do? Yeah, like how does it work?
Memes. It's like a self therapy, I think too. But now my therapy is CBT therapy with ERP, so exposure and response prevention. Uh, when I when the intrusive thought hits me, and I have this specific feeling that I had to do compulsion, but I had to stop it and sit with that discomfort, and I had to teach my brain again how to do or how to don't do this compulsion.
That's so
And
interesting.
that is so hard because you know you can't just stop thinking. It's impossible. And in my case, compulsions are mostly rumination. So everything is going in my head. And there were days for this 3 last year that I was ruminating for 8-10 hours a day. Yeah,
You know
that
the
was
thing. Go on. Sorry.
that was a really disaster in my head, and
Well,
it was so frustrating.
well, as it would be, because I was gonna say that we in DBT, the because I did something called
Uh,
dialectual, and I still do
yep.
dialectual behavioral therapy. There is a skill that we use, which is basically like sitting with the discomfort,
Yep.
where we like I think our I guess not test, but like the way we would do something would be that we'd leave something like half finished, and then we would just have to look at it and just sit and not basically finish the like I think to us we had basically I think we were asked to do a drawing of a straight line, but then uh we'd like pull the paper so that the line gets messy, and then
Yep.
you just have to like just look at the line, just accept the fact that the line is not straight. And
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It's like again, that's one little test, or that's one way of doing it. But in real life, in day to day things, it's so hard. It's so
Yeah.
difficult. And
It's so hard, and you don't know where the really hard trigger hits. And when I just walking over my house and I see something, and then intrusive thoughts hit, and it's so hard to stop making compulsive behaviors. It's so hard because you don't know when this trigger really hits, and that I have to teach my brain this good behaviors.
but and then you were saying that like now you've got yeah, like if you don't mind me asking, how old are your kids?
My kids,
Yeah.
yeah, Hannah is 10 years old, and Timek is 7.
Nice. So they are very very young. They wouldn't no, but I'm sure again whenever all these thoughts hit, it's hard enough as it is, but I'm sure they will love to understand, more when they grow up about this. And I think in one way it's a good opportunity for them to also understand mental health
Yeah,
in general and be able
yeah,
to.
absolutely. And starting therapy was also a great point because my OCD has stolen me so much time that I could spend with my kids. When my little boy asked me, "Daddy, we can play football," and I told him, "Wait a minute, but it's not a minute because I'm ruminating for an hour," and that was
Wow.
pretty hard for our family.
Yeah, no, of course. It sounds hard, man, and it sounds like such an oof. Like, yeah, that's the thing. How do you explain it, and especially in your situation where, like, again, you're kind of like fighting with this on your own for 20 years. It
Yeah.
just feels uh, incredible. I even sometimes now I speak with my sister sometimes because sadly my parents passed away before I got
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed. And um yeah, I think when I first told, I basically started seeing a therapist because I've been told that I had chronic depression almost during COVID as well, in 2020 or 2021. And no, 2020. In 2020, I started seeing a therapist for chronic depression. And I remember when I told my mom about this, although I struggled with the intrusive thoughts as well since I was 13. That's when I remember the first times when I had like suicidal ideations, and I thought of again, like, self harm and other things because I just couldn't. Uh, yeah, because again, the thoughts that I had were just very strange, and but I've never told anyone. And then I told my mom, and she started crying. She thought that she did something. She was like, "Oh no, what happened?" And basically, my point was that now, even when I speak with my sister, sometimes I just find it so hard to explain. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's really, it's hard, man.
Yeah, it's really hard. And when I speak with my friends now and then, I saw this. They understand nothing, but when I sent my intrusive OCD page, they told me, "Lukasz, now we understand what are you struggling with." So that's important for me because uh, mm, speaking about disorders, about mental health is so important. It's so important to understand for people without disorders, but also for people struggling with some disorders, because uh, I don't want people to wait so long for starting therapy. It's definitely too long.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also,
Go on.
yeah, when I started speaking about it out loud, and after 7 months, because I started my uh, memes page December in December last year, and about 7 months I don't tell my wife about this project. Yeah, really. And I made memes. My page was anonymous because I don't use my photo. But someday I made few reels that have reach about 4 million people, 4 million views. And I thought, oh, that is pretty dangerous. My wife will see something, and I had to tell her. And when I tell her, I change my photo. I don't. I am not anonymous yet now, and I started to tell my friends, my society here in Poland about mental health, and this is so amazing that so many people around me also are also struggling with OCD, and also my sister. She is 19 years old and told me when she saw my memes, she told me, Lukasz, I had the same problem. I have the same problem.
That's amazing, man. So you've basically managed to connect with other people in Poland who have similar situations, and I guess did they have they basically is that help them start reaching out and asking for support or asking for
Yeah,
the therapist and things like that?
yeah, exactly. I want to tell through my memes that reaching for therapy it's not something we should to be ashamed. It's normal. We have problem with legs, with arms, and also with our mind. It's and I think it's more important than it's the most important because we can't function without this, yeah, without our brain, our mind, and when we see something is wrong there, we should ask for help.
That's so true, because I every time I not every time, but sometimes when I think about my own journey, I also think about my niece and my nephew. And my nephew is 18. He's starting uni now in a couple of weeks, and then my niece, she's wow, she's almost 12 now as well. So she's getting, and a part of me kind of feels really sad because I wish I knew the things that I know now when I was their age. But in the other
Mm-hmm.
hand, it just feels really good to know that at least they will hopefully be able to get some help much earlier. Just like you said, they wouldn't have to live 20 years without anyone knowing what's happening,
Yeah,
or not even anyone but them not knowing what's happening.
yeah, but I hope this will change, and such a pages like mine and yours will help in changing the situation about mental health. So I see now that so many people are speaking about it without be ashamed, and this is awesome.
Yeah, and you said a very good thing about like how if you have a broken arm, you see a doctor. If you have a broken leg, you see a doctor. But then you also need, and like you said, the mind is impacting everything.
Yeah, when I had a toothache, so I had visit to a doctor next day because it's so painful. But I wait 20 years with my OCD. That is ridiculous.
It's a very long time, and like you said, it's important to get a message out there. And I feel like especially again because I resonate a lot, or like I feel similar things about how I talk with my friends back home, about my situation, where it's even, I don't know what it's like for you, but for me it's even like hard to describe my thoughts in Romanian to like my Romanian. You know, like I feel like in English it's so much easier. But then
Mhm.
when I have to actually like tell my sister about like what does borderline personality disorder means, is I just don't understand how to do it. It just feels like it's so hard.
Yeah. Uh, mm, with OCD, it's I think the same because most people told me why can't you just stop it? Don't think about it, yeah. And it's not so easy, yeah. That's why this is disorder.
You know, now I want to ask you like a more I don't know, like light-hearted question. So, were you always a fan of comedy, or is it something that?
Mm,
Yeah, go on.
uh, I really like stand up. And I like it for my whole life. I'm going to see stand uppers, but I always thought that I can do this, and I always thought that I can't create memes. So when I started with my OCD, it's now so simple, so easy for me to create what I'm doing because when I see some interesting video on my feed, when I scrolling Instagram or YouTube, uh, immediately an idea hits in my mind with subtitles, and I don't plan anything on my page. Just this is just a moment when I see something and okay, I have an idea, and
Interesting.
yeah,
And then yeah, so this is basically how you make the content. Is like, oh yeah, that looks like that makes it. I guess. Well, is so is your idea when you make a video of, oh, this is pretty much how like I feel like my brain works.
yeah, exactly. This
Interesting.
is
Were you
yeah.
like a? Did you have a creative like? Have you always been a creative person, or is it
Uh,
now?
I think not so much, but now it's just like a I don't know like it's really easy for me now to create these memes. Why? I don't know. Maybe OCD helps me a bit, but yeah. Uh, one friend told me, Lukasz, you you make so many memes in one day. How are you doing this? And I had no idea. It's this it works for me like this, and yeah, I don't sit and think what I should to show tomorrow and what should I do. Yeah, no, it pops up like yeah, like Windows in computer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Because again, it's was what yeah. I guess it's like it's a nice way to do things as well, especially when it just comes naturally. And I also find my because I think the reason why I started the podcast was actually because I felt like through my stand, so it was quite different because I felt like I couldn't say everything I wanted to say um, on a stand-up set. because some of the things are so hard to explain. But then
Yes.
I wanted to have a platform where I can do that. And then that's how I started doing the podcast. So I think it's, again, I feel like in that respect, it's fairly similar, where you are like, hey, how do I explain this in the, I guess, in an easy way, or like a simpler way? And,
Mm.
I agree with you where some things that have to do with again with like with disorders. It's that again, because it's impulsive. It's there are things that are just hard to explain, and then you have a cat pushing another cat, and you're like, oh, okay. And I love
Yeah.
that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I was just going to say about how yeah, it's such a normal, not normal, but like such a usual thing to hear, because I heard it a lot as well about, yeah, just stop doing that, like just stop thinking like this, or like it's not a choice. I
Yeah.
don't I don't
Exactly.
wake up choosing to feel this way.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like ruminating for many, many hours. It's not my pleasure or something. It's not what I'm lost or something. It's really painful, and yeah, I don't choose that.
Yeah, that's I agree, and like the pain behind it, and I think that even the pain of not being able to, at least for me, it's like going back to the point about how I felt alone for many
Yeah.
years, but I thought, oh,
Yeah.
nobody can understand. How do I explain this? This doesn't, and also I think my and I don't know if you have a similar, if you had a similar problem, is that I couldn't, because I didn't talk about it, because I didn't say what I felt like. I didn't know whether everyone else felt that way, and whether it's just my problem that I'm too weak to, like, get over it, because I thought, oh, maybe everyone struggles like this, everyone feels the things like I feel it, they are just doing better at not showing it, while that wasn't the case.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Understand. Understand. It's absolutely like that. It's because for so many years I was struggling with that alone, and I think it's not a problem. Yeah, people have also such problems, and it's okay, and I can manage it on my own. But mm, this is not the way. The really really important point in our in my life was to see that something is wrong, not with me, with my with functioning of my brain, or something. Yeah, and when I tell myself, yeah, something is wrong, you should do something with that. That was the really important thing, and yeah, and that changed my life, because uh, now my wife understands a lot. It's also and it's also OCD is also painful for her, and that I have to understand, because OCD and other disorders like borderline and many many other disorders are problem the whole family, and people with disorders should understand their families too, their loved ones, because uh, we can't expect that people without disorders will understand 100% what we feel inside. It's not possible, and yeah, we we should understand them too, because that's the big problem. The whole family.
That's a very valid point, because I always think about it. Even when I talk about the podcast, I always tell people that this is for anyone affected by basically like affected by a personality or like a mental health disorder, because like you said, it's the domino effect, where because you have it, or like because I have it, then people around me also have to, not have to, but like would also, basically because they see my struggles, and because I have to live my struggles, it impacts them.
Yeah.
You can make them struggle, and it can make, again, in some situations, I know, for example, in at least again for me, because of like having emotional dysregulations, in being careful on not escalating arguments and things like that, and making sure, I'm being mindful of what I say or do. It's so much harder, and then again, it also, like you said, it impacts the people around you. And I think it's actually a really beautiful thing that you said there about how, in the same time when you reach out for help, you are not only doing it, don't only think as if you're doing it for yourself, you're actually doing it for you and the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the point, because the first thing, you have to understand that you have some disorders. Yeah, that without this, without going to therapy, you can do anything, but it doesn't work. But when you understand you have disorder, you need and that you need go to therapy, then you can understand the needs of other people around you. That your disorder affects them too, and in my case, ROCD is so painful and so affecting my family, and only this way this recovery journey can be more effective, because my wife understands me, I understand her point of view, and and that's it.
Where is, because obviously you were saying about how one of the amazing things about, I guess, technology these days is just the fact that you can connect with people from all over the world that you wouldn't be able to connect otherwise. Have you heard, like, what other countries, I guess, have you had people message you from, or like, share your memes from, that you were quite, I guess, surprised, or maybe the furthest away?
Yeah. So a few months ago, 3 months ago, I didn't even think about how many people will follow me, truly, because 3 months ago I have on my page 1,000 people, and now 14,000. That is so amazing, and so many people. I thank them all, because so many beautiful messages I get, and I really hope that's what I'm doing. Really, it can really help other people. But the really first thing, I'm not a therapist, and Instagram and other social media are also not therapists. So that should we that we have to remember, because memes are super cool way to keep distance to disorder, to better understand the mechanism of OCD or other disorders. it's perfect way to help people in some hard times. But the really thing is therapy.
I agree with that. I think when you see I think in the comedy circuit, you hear some people say that comedy is therapy, but I actually think that comedy is comedy and therapy is
Mm,
therapy. You shouldn't
yeah,
you don't, again, obviously it's comedy is therapeutic, but it's not the same thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's
I don't know how about you, but I get so many messages, Lukasz, what I have to do. I was triggered, and I have so hard days, or I really don't know what to do. And what should I say? Go to your therapist. Call your therapist. Uh, because I don't know you, yeah. I don't know every people around the world, and don't know their situation.
yeah, and that's an important thing of trying to just make sure that people have they create that I guess, like, they create a safe space around them, or they get to have someone that can help them in those situations, or they get a circle around it. But yeah, I think it's a fine line, just because, like you said, it's about you're
Yeah,
there to, I guess, you're helping out with spreading what an understanding, or creating some awareness about, like,
awareness.
what
Yeah,
live with disorder. But then it's about what is it that you're going to do with this information, and who are you going to share with, and how do you, I guess, create that safe space around you, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a close friend, or a family member, or someone that you can see in person. Because I agree with you, sometimes in these situations where there are people, and especially, like you said, I don't know your situation, I don't know what's happening with you, I can't make decisions for you, right? Like, I can't um, tell people what to do, because you don't
yeah. We're
know.
not therapists. Yeah, exactly. And people use these platforms like Facebook and asking for reassurance. And we know that in case when we speak about OCD, reassurance seeking doesn't help. It makes situation worse. But people asking for reassurance on Facebook, and other people give them reassurance, and this circle is still going, and disorder um, is even worse. So therapy. This word should yeah, therapy.
And what was it like? Was it hard to find someone? Like, did you manage to find the therapist that you're seeing on the first try, or did you have to try different therapists until you found someone that you connected
Yeah,
with?
yeah. I know that it's so hard to find the right therapist, but uh, my little son Timek, he's 7 years old. He's going to therapy to, I don't know what it is in English, logopedy, or she
Sure.
has he has problem with speaking some letters,
Okay. Okay.
and yeah, and he goes to therapy, and I ask this therapist that I have problem with something in my mind. I think it's OCD because I read a bit about it, and he told me you should go there. And this is the first therapist I'm going to, and I'm still there. So I was lucky, I think, because I have a really, really good relationship with my therapist. We understand each other, and he likes my memes. Yeah,
That's funny. That's very good. That's a very good reason to keep seeing the therapist.
and that's why I make so many memes about relationship between therapist and patient.
But with I sometimes sometimes I wonder if my therapist is watching my comedy. Because I tell her about if I have a stand-up show, I would tell her, I'd be like, oh yeah, last night I went there or I did this. And then I always wonder if she actually like checks out, because she's not told me if she does. But yeah, I'm just curious. And I think, like you said, but also I think it's important for people to know that even if, say, there was one therapist, or like their first interaction with the therapist wasn't
Yeah,
a good one, that's not the end of the day. There are many more,
yeah.
other
In
therapists that you can reach out to.
yeah, yeah. In my case, because for OCD treatment, the best way I think that, so maybe not the best, but the most used therapy is CBT with ERP. My therapist is not CBT, and don't use ERP so often. But when I got my diagnosis, I started to read really a lot about OCD, and my knowledge about OCD, about this disorder, really helps. And this is also a good advice for people diagnosed with OCD, to get some books and read about disorder, and this helps. And I know my therapist. My therapist knows me, and we both, with my knowledge and therapy, we are going in a good way, I think.
Interesting. So you've done a lot of research as well, and you're keeping up. Just out of curiosity, when you're reading articles, was it like articles in Polish or like books in Polish, or do you just like go on and buy like stuff in English, or like you read papers in English as well?
No, the really first book I read in English is now I read my first book in English, that is a gift from Tracy, about ROCD, and this is the really first book I read in English. This These first books about OCD were in Polish.
You know
Yeah,
what would be really interesting if you were to read the same book in English and Polish and see whether like there is much difference, because I've noticed with some books that I've read in English and Romanian, that because again there is no translation of,
yeah.
I think some of the terms used in BPD, there is no direct translation to Romanian. But then the
Mm-hmm.
problem is that the translation that's in the book, it actually doesn't make sense. It's really weird. Yeah, so that's why
Yeah,
would very interesting.
maybe now it's better for me to read books in English, because I think about do some live in on Instagram, and now I did it 3 times, but those three lies were in Polish. But I think the most of my audience is from the USA, from United Kingdom, and it will be pretty good to do some live also in English. And I think many people are waiting for it, but I don't know I'm ready for it.
That's a good idea. I think when I had to like perfect my not perfect, but yeah, like I wanted to understand and perhaps speak English better. I started reading
Yeah.
books in English, and I started with Harry Potter, and then
Okay.
and then I went from that to autobiographies. I found them really hard
Okay.
to read because it's normally a very like
Yep.
simple language.
Yeah. But it's a little bit different to speak in English about shitty things like how is the weather or something, and speaking about mental health and mental disorders. And I'm afraid of if I tell something wrong or someone don't understand what I want to tell, and that's the point. But now I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think again, I can't. I don't know what I can't predict. Like, well, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I can say that for this hour, I understood you very well. I think
Yeah,
you've got
me
the
too.
cross. Yeah, I think you've got
Yeah,
your cross for sure, and it's been really interesting, because some of the things that you were talking about, they haven't, like you said, they're not discussed, or there are still so many people who think that the way they feel or the way they understand things, it's like it's normal, it's standard, but it's sometimes it's not. Like you said, it can affect relationships, it can affect again, it can affect a person, and then
yeah,
and it can affect the people around them.
and also spreading awareness to people who don't have disorders is really important, because when someone from your family is suffering alone and you think only that they are sad or something or had a bad day, but in reality it's something more like disorders, like depression or something. And sometimes we don't see if something is wrong, because people are smiling, are living their lives, and then boom.
They might not be there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. That Yeah, it's hard to gauge what's in someone else's head,
yeah,
but
exactly. That's why spreading awareness is so important, and that's why now um, that's why I'm doing what I do. So I think now my memes have the deeper meaning, or yeah,
that's a good word.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, and that exactly. It stands for something, and that something is making people aware, and like you said, the people who need help go and seek, like, don't go and get that help. But then for the people who are around people who struggle with the disorder, it's a good way of understanding what's going on in someone else's head.
Yeah, because uh, mm, physical compulsion in OCD, you can see this. Yeah, people with OCD don't show this, but when you look at someone with OCD, you can see this. But mental compulsions, it's all in our head.
Yeah, that's true. Because you have no idea how. Yeah, you can't see someone's thoughts for better or worse sometimes.
Yeah.
But look, Lucas, it's been such an amazing time talking to you, and I was going to basically, um, if you want to let everyone listening know what's that's Pickle, that's the other cat, but
So you have happy team.
so we've got Pickle and Sarma. They are two sisters.
Okay, I have a white Labrador here.
Oh, very nice. How old is he or she?
See, Tosia is 11 years old now.
Oh, wow, 11.
Yeah, 11.
That's amazing.
And
So,
she's sleeping now.
oh, cute. Yeah, well, it's again, it's 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. In Poland. Fair enough. She deserves
Yeah,
a nice rest. It's
yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
But so basically, where do people find you? What's your social media handle? And anything else you want to say before we end?
I think the most important thing, remember, you're not alone. And if you need help, you can reach for help. And yeah, this is the most important thing. We're not alone. Look around. Uh, Look at your friends, at your family, at your loved ones, of if it's everything okay or if it's something wrong.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah,
Very happy with that.
yeah,
Lucas,
thank you very much for conversation for this amazing conversation. It's first time for me in English, so I hope it was not so bad.
I think it was great, and we can definitely work out a part two. And
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
once you hopefully you'll get a date for the Instagram live.
Yeah,
And we can basically get an update on how that's been going. And it sounds like again the page is doing really well, and obviously it's helping out a lot of people like myself. I love it. I'm such a huge fan, so thank you for doing it. And
and thank you for what you're doing because it's so important.
well, I think again, like you said, it is, and it's important for people to know that there are ways to that there are ways to basically deal with things. And like you said, one of the most important, maybe the most important thing is that you're not alone in feeling the way you're feeling. There are other people who do it, and you can connect with, or like you can basically see that. And because you can see that, at least to me, it helps me move on, because I know that I'm not, like, I guess, suffering alone, and it kind of helps. It makes me feel better.
Yeah,
Perfect. Well,
perfect.
thank you so much, and we'll talk later.
Yeah, bye bye. Thank you. Greetings from Poland.
So, what do you think? Did you enjoy? Um, I loved the greetings from Poland at the end. I think it was such a cool bit. It reminded me of watching the Eurovision, which is something that I very much enjoy. And yeah, it was just really nice. But I hope you see how brilliant the conversation with Lucas was. And again, I hope you see how brilliant it is that he's got to basically like to do this page and to raise the to raise awareness, obviously in a funny way, but that's still very important. And I feel as someone who's lived and obviously was born in a Eastern European country. Although I know some people from Poland might argue that it's Central Europe. Well, I'm not sure about that, but I'm not going to argue with you. Okay, if you believe it's Central, it's Central. I'm not here to debate that. I will start a separate geography and history podcast from next week. But as someone growing up and being born in Romania and um, having lived there and still going back home from time to time, I definitely feel different, and it feels very sometimes very bizarre and very weird to talk about one's mental health. And I even remember before I got diagnosed with PPD to just I feel like privilege, and it felt like such a privilege in the, I guess, in the bad way, of like uh, the sort of guilty privilege of like, oh, talking about anxiety and depression, and like not knowing whether, again, that's something that it's a standard, to what extent. It was weird. I remember questioning my head so much as a kid. Um, and as a young adult, and even, yeah, I think as a young adult, yeah, it was, like, what is it that's normal, and or is it like, what is it that's normal to think about and to stress over, and to how much worrying and sadness and anger can be in like one's head. And it's like, well, that's the right amount, or it's it's understandable, and what's too much, because you can't really talk about it. I remember I had teachers, and again, people from my family and people from all sorts of backgrounds, or all sorts of situations that I've been a part of, that would just like brush off me trying to say I what's going on in my head, and that made me kind of not say it again for a very long time. And look, I in this is not the case of me throwing shade, or saying that, oh, those people were bad people. Absolutely not. It's just that that's the way they were brought up as well, and that's just the way things were, or like things, again, I can't say are, because now I'm in a much more, I guess, privileged, on a much more happy place, where my family and people that I care about, who the people who I open up to about my mental health struggles, or like just my struggles in general, are much more open and welcoming to those conversations. So it would be unfair for me to say that this is how it goes, how it works. But I can tell you that this is how it worked, from past experiences. So yeah, look, I think it's been a true privilege to record with Lukasz, and it was so much fun as well. And his page is really good. It's really funny. I think we need to watch. We need funny. We need happy. We need laughter. And yeah, I enjoyed recording. And look, you're gonna hear from me again in a couple of days, so I'm not gonna keep this too long. So from me, Pickle and Sarma, until the end of the week, stay skillful. Bye.